Meet the father of modern gynecology, Dr. J. Marion Sims. He's been dubbed the savior of women and the architect of the vagina for developing revolutionary gynecological procedures and tools like the dreaded speculum. Statues of the 19th century surgeon currently stand in 3 American cities, including this one right here in New York City. But it turns out your routine pap smear has a dark history. Dr. Sims conducted much of his research on slaves, like Anarcha, a teenager who was one of many voiceless, faceless black women who suffered through his experiments without anesthesia or informed consent. For 4 years, Sims operated on young slaves repeatedly to find a cure for a condition caused by complicated childbirth that left many women incontinent or unable to control their urination. Anarcha endured 30 practice procedures before Sims finally got it right. According to historian and medical ethicist Harriet Washington, Sims knew the operation was extremely painful, but wrote that using anesthesia was not worth the trouble or risk. In fact, the pain was so excruciating that the woman had to be restrained by 2 male surgeons just to make it through. And that's why many people are now calling for his statues to come down. But Dr. Sims isn't the only physician to use black people as unwitting test subjects. It's only one chapter in a long history of racist medical abuse. In the infamous Tuskegee experiment, federal researchers observed 399 black men with syphilis from 1932 to 1972. A cure was discovered 13 years in, but doctors withheld treatment for decades just so they could continue their work. And that's not even the most egregious example. For decades leading up to the 1970s, white doctors in training performed secret surgical sterilizations, including unnecessary uterus removals on black and Puerto Rican women. In the early 90s, the New York State Psychiatric Institute conducted a study into the genetic roots of violence. The researchers recruited mostly low-income black boys and injected them with a drug known to be poisonous. The boys' mothers were given a whopping $125 for having their sons participate. And to this day, we still don't know the long-term effects this experiment has had on those kids. These stories are horrifying, but racism in the medical field isn't a thing of the past. A 2016 study found that a quarter of medical residents who were surveyed thought black skin is actually thicker than white skin. And many of those same residents also thought black patients felt less pain than their white counterparts and recommended less accurate pain treatment. So it's not surprising that studies have found that black patients tend to trust doctors less. And all of this has real consequences on people's health. In East Harlem, where Dr. Sims' statue stands, 80% of the residents are black or Hispanic, and the average life expectancy here is almost 10 years lower than that of majority white neighborhoods in Manhattan. So maybe it's time we stop celebrating this racist history and start recognizing the centuries of abuse people of color have endured in the name of science.
Hey, thanks for watching. Splinter is here to bring you new videos every
All right, that was pretty interesting. As we can see, hold on, let me fix my mic because I got a little bit of an echo. All right, so that video that we just seen here is a little short film called The Disturbing History of American Medicine. So the topic of the show today is alternative medicine. And alternative medicine is something that's becoming more and more important because, as you can see, the medical industry really likes to play favoritism of how they treat minorities and people of color. So what we want to do today is we want to introduce the different types of alternative medicine out there. We're going to introduce the pros and we're going to introduce the cons, because a lot of these things is still in study. A lot of these things are still haven't really been proven all the way yet. Some of the things been used for thousands of years. So we're going to go through each one of them here in a minute. But first, I'm going to give you a little brief background of what exactly is that we're going to talk about today. So what is, and excuse me if I pronounce this word wrong, it's naturopathy. naturopathic medicine is premised on the healing power of nature, and it's a broad branch of alternative medicine. Naturopathic doctors are trained in both conventional and alternative medicines. They seek to understand the cause of a condition by exploring its mental, physical, and spiritual manifestations in a given patient. Naturopathy typically involves a variety of treatment techniques, including nutrition, behavioral changes, herbal medicine, homeopathy, and acupuncture. So basically, a lot of these alternative medicine techniques are natural techniques, right? This is something that our grandmothers would use on us when we were younger, right? It's kind of like the idea behind Vicks, right? You put a little bit of Vicks on your nose, and allegedly it fixes everything. If you're Puerto Rican, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So if you ever been to a spa, you ever sit in the spa and you just take a steam bath with the leaves, you heat up the leaves and you get that, cleans up your sinuses. So these are all different examples of alternative medicine. So let's go to this next slide. So the body. Touch has been used in medicine since the early days of medical care. Healing by touch is based on the idea that illness or injury in one area of the body can affect all parts of the body. If with manual manipulation the other parts can be brought back to optimum health, the body can fully focus on healing at the site of injury or illness. Body techniques are often combined with those of the mind. Examples of body therapies include chiropractic and osteopathic medicine, massage, body movement therapies, Tai Chi, and yoga. So, if you ever been to a chiropractor before, you know how good it feels when you leave the chiropractor's office and he cracked all the bones in your back and you walk out of there feeling great. You know, they're getting all that acidic pressure that clogs up on your joints, and they taking all of that out. That's why it's so effective. And if you notice here, one of the things they said is the mental, right? We talked about this last week briefly, how everything is all a part of the mind, right? So even illness, disease is something that to some degree is it's in the mind, right? And if you can convince the mind that you're not really sick, to some degree you can heal yourself. We'll get into how you can do that here in a minute, but we're gonna go to the next slide. The senses. Some people believe that the senses, touch, sight, hearing, smell, taste, and can all affect overall health. Examples of therapies incorporating the senses include art, dance, music, visualization, and guided imagery. So this is why going out sometimes is good therapy. I mean, you know, sitting in the house, even though it's relaxing and you save money, you got to understand that it's not really healthy to your immune system to be separating yourself from the collective. You know what I'm saying? Going out there, dancing, listening to music, you know, implementing your artistic ability, your creative ability, going to the movies, watching a show, watching a play, going to a concert. These are all things that are good for the immune system, because what happens is that the brain, when you're having a good time, the brain releases what's called dopamine, and dopamine is what makes you feel good. It's what makes you feel happy, and this is good for you, right? Because your body realizes that it's in a state of happiness, a state of ecstasy. So naturally, your body is not worrying about fighting disease, is not worrying about, you know, what toxins you got in your body. So it's always good to get out the house, get some sunshine, get some air. All right, let's go to the next slide here. External energy. External energy, some people believe external energies from objects or other sources directly affect a person's health. An example of external energy therapy is electromagnetic therapy, Reiki, and Qigong. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. That's what it looks like it says, though. Qigong.
Qui-Gon.
So this will be kind of like metaphysical healing. This is convincing the mind and using tactics where you're tapping into the chakra systems of the body. We're not going to really get into the chakra systems today, because the chakras kind of need a show of their own to really get a good understanding of them. But that's the type of energy that they're tapping into. They're developing the chakras and pressure points within the body. The next section, it says the mind. I'll go back. The mind. Even standard or conventional medicine recognizes the power of the connection between the mind and body. Studies have found that people heal better if they have good emotional and mental health. Therapies using the mind may include meditation, biofeedback, and hypnosis. So, again, the reason why the mind is important, um, I'll give you a perfect example. If you ever been in a bad relationship, a really bad relationship that really stresses you out, you'll notice that you'll be sick a lot. And you're sick because the energy that's in your relationship is toxic energy. And your body's absorbing this toxic energy, and you'll find yourself in repeated states. And uh, it's not that you actually have a disease within your body. It's the fact that you're just absorbing a lot of negative energy, and your body's starting to understand this. Like I mentioned last week, your body is like a supercomputer, and it can retain memory. DNA retains memory. This is why when women that are abused while they're pregnant, the kid remembers the abuse that the mother had while they were in the womb, because the DNA retains this. This is why it's important that we surround ourselves around positive people with positive energy. You know, miserable people drag you down, and they ruin your immune system. I mean, science prove it, medicine prove it, and that's what it's all about. It's all about surrounding yourself with positive minded people and people that know how to get the most out of life. All right, let's hit this next slide. Diets and herbs. Over the centuries, man has gone from a simple diet consisting of meats, fruits, vegetables, and grains to a diet that often consists of foods rich in fats, oils, and complex carbohydrates. Nutritional excess and deficiency have become problems in today's society, both leading to certain chronic diseases. Many dietary and herbal approaches attempt to balance the body's nutritional well-being. Dietary and herbal approaches may include dietary supplements, herbal medicine, nutrition, and diet. So again, you don't put cheap gas in your car. The reason why you don't put cheap gas in your car is because you have a high-end motor, right? And most people feel that if you put cheap gas in your car, it's going to ruin how your car functions. So with your body, is the same thing, right? You know, most of us grew up eating fast food, processed food. You know, that's why a lot of us have diabetes now. A lot of us have high cholesterol. A lot of us have health problems on top of the drugs, on top of the drinking, on top of everything else. So when you understand that over the years, this excess of oil and fat and all this stuff builds up in your arteries, and it causes organ malfunctions like your pancreas and your liver. I mean, I remember vividly, I used to drink really heavy. Yeah, I was drinking last night, as a matter of fact. And, you know, I can't handle the liquor no more like I used to, you know, because over the years, the liver deteriorates. And it becomes a situation where, you know, the older we get, our body just can't take it no more. Your body decides, look, you've been doing this for so long, and it just gets to a point where it has to shut down. So it's important that moving forward that we start to watch what we eat. I'm not necessarily promoting a vegan diet or a vegetarian diet, but I would cut down on the red meats. I would try to cut down on the pork. I would try to cut down on a lot of these foods that are not necessarily good for us. We'll go down to the next slide. All right, so now we're really going to get into what exactly is the methods and the methodology being used with these particular methods of alternative medicine. Now, the first one I want to get into is called acupressure. And this is not to be confused with acupuncture. We're going to talk about that next. But acupressure is similar in practice to acupuncture, only no needles are involved. Practitioners use their hands, elbows, or feet to apply pressure to specific points along the body's meridians. According to the theory behind acupressure, meridians are channels that carry life energy throughout the body. The reasoning holds that illness can occur when one of these meridians is blocked or out of balance. Acupressure is thought to relieve blockages so energy can flow freely again, restoring wellness. More research is needed, but a handful of studies have found positive results. So, acupressure is basically like, you know, a really good deep tissue massage where, you know, the massager is really getting into these points where they're tapping in maybe the back of your neck, your spinal column, the backs of your legs, all these areas where you develop a lot of pressure and a lot of energy. So what they try to do is they try to release the energy by massaging these areas out, so that energy is just not all clogged in into maybe your back or your legs, wherever part of your body may hurt. Um, Acupressure is also good for going to sleep. If you see here, it says in 2013, researchers worked with a group of adolescents suffering from insomnia. They found that acupressure helped them fall asleep faster and get deeper sleep. So again, releasing all this tension and stress before you go to sleep, a nice, good, deep tissue massage, and at the very least, it'll help you sleep better. And sleep is a large reason to a healthy lifestyle. Getting proper sleep, getting 8 hours, 10 hours. Some people are not getting proper sleep, and that might be the reason why they don't feel good the whole majority of the day.
Yeah, I bet.
Let's get this next slide. Okay, so now we're going to talk about acupuncture. And most people know what acupuncture is. Acupuncture is all about with the needles, right? If you ever seen the old Chinese movies where they got the guy laying on the bed of needles
Hey.
and with the monks. You
Steven
seen that,
Seagal.
right?
What was it? I just seen it the other day. Steven Seagal was laying down, had all the acupuncture
Yeah, so
in his back.
this is pretty popular. It got its origins in the Orient. So through reading about this practice of traditional Chinese medicine may immediately bring sharp needles to mind. The term actually describes stimulating specific points on the body. The best known variety consists of penetrating the skin with thin needles controlled by a practitioner, but electrical stimulation can also be used. We have known for a while that acupuncture can have positive results on PMS, insomnia, and many types of chronic pain like neck pain and osteoarthritis. The newer research looks promising as well. For example, a 2016 study with 2,349 participants found that acupuncture may be effective for tension or chronic headaches, though more trials are needed for sure. So again, acupuncture revolves around the same premise, attacking these pressure points. And these pressure points revolve around the chakra system. There's 7 chakra systems. From the head, we have the throat, we have the heart, we have the stomach, you have the genital, and you have the feet, right? So each one of these areas are energy centers. Again, when we get into the show about chakras and energy points, I'll get really into detail about each chakra and what it is that they do and how to address each one. But for right now, this is what acupuncture addresses. It's all about removing stress and tension from the pressure points. All right, so let's go to the next slide. Aromatherapy. I know a lot of us got those moms that used to love lighting candles on Sunday mornings when it was time to clean, right? And those little Glade plug-ins and candles. This is all about smell, using smell as a healing process, right? So aromatherapy uses essential oils, highly concentrated extracts from roots, leaves, seeds, blossoms of plants to promote healing. It's a practice that can be traced back to at least 5,000 years ago. The oils can be inhaled using a diffuser or diluted in a carrier oil and massaged into the skin. Some are used to treat inflammation or infections, while others are used to promote relaxation and calm. In clinical settings, researchers have focused on aromatherapy for anxiety, depression, pain relief, nausea, and insomnia. In 2017, a study, for example, aromatherapy with lavender was found to promote sleep and reduce anxiety for patients with heart disease. So again, this is using the concept of senses, right? Our senses, smell. So again, with our body being a supercomputer, it smells something that smells good in the sense of a lavender scent or coconut or whatever it is, candle that you use, and it puts us in a state of relaxation. It puts us in a good mood. So naturally, when your body's in a good mood, it releases dopamine. Dopamine puts you in a state of feeling pleasant. This is good for your body. So try it out. All right, let's hit this next slide. Ayurvedic medicine. Now, this has its origins in India. Also known as Ayurveda, this modality originated in India and has been around for thousands of years. Practitioners use a variety of techniques, including herbs, massage, and specialized diets with the intent of balancing the body, mind, and spirit to promote overall wellness. There are several studies that show positive results for specific Ayurvedic practices like taking turmeric for inflammation, using a neti pot to clear the sinuses, called nasal irrigation, or swishing coconut oil in your mouth to pull out bacteria, known as oil pulling. And we can't forget about yoga, which is mentioned in the Ayurvedic text. In the latest research available, yoga has been shown time and time again to address a range of mental and physical health issues like anxiety, depression, high blood pressure, and insomnia, among others. So again, this is an ancient practice, right? This goes back thousands and thousands of years. We'll get into the Vedas and all that later when we get into like religion and metaphysics, but this all consists of using natural healing techniques. So, for example, you would get a pot, you would fill it up with the leaves to create like a steam, and what this steam would do, it creates a drainage up here in your sinus areas. So, this is a practice they've been using for thousands and thousands of years, and it's been effective. You know, a lot of people got the misconception that Europeans came and, you know, they gave us this idea of a modern medicine, but medicine existed and health, people have been practicing health since the beginning of time, effectively. Because I vividly read a lot of history, and at no point in time were there large populations of people outside of the Black Plague, right? And we'll get into that. But outside of the Black Plague and a few pandemics here and there wasn't really large groups of populations of people dying from illnesses. I have my own opinions. I have my own information regarding what did cause these pandemics back in the day, but that's for a different show. So we'll get into that another time. All right, let's go to the next slide, please. Yeah, we're going to 5 now. Balneotherapy, sometimes confused with hydrotherapy. Balneotherapy involves the use of water for therapeutic purposes, and it dates as far back as 1700 BC. It's a popular course of treatment in several European countries to this day. So when you think thermal baths in Hungary, it's based on the idea that water benefits the skin and might treat a range of conditions from acne to pain, swelling to anxiety. Practitioners use mud packs, douches, long soaks, and wraps in an attempt to reap agua's many rewards. For this reason, it's often called spa therapy. So,
Nothing like water, huh?
yeah, so this is a good old-fashioned, H2O. This is why it's important that we have clean water, though. So what a lot of people don't realize is when we take baths and stuff, we're still using water from the tap. Well, this water from the tap has a lot of minerals, it has a lot of metal that comes from the pipes, and all of this gets absorbed into our pores. So it's always good that we steam all these stuff out of our body and get it out. The most effective way for me every time that I got sick was always sweat it out, right? Wrap myself up or steam shower, and the sweat process, I usually feel better the next morning without taking any kind of medication. Human beings are part of the ecosystem that is Earth, right? We are all 5 of the elements balanced together. So it will only make sense that we use the elements to heal ourselves.
Yeah.
Right?
For
We
sure.
always run to narcotics. We always run to these artificial treatments, which are just synthetic versions of natural treatment. Most narcotics come from plant source.
Yeah.
But what's created in the lab is a synthetic version. Right, where they add all this other stuff to it that's not necessarily healthy for you. That's why all these medications have all these crazy side effects. So, it's something that when you start understanding who we are as a person, right? When you start understanding your body, then you get a better understanding of what you could do to treat your body and heal your body. All right, let's hit this next slide. Biofeedback. Biofeedback techniques allow people to control bodily processes that normally happen involuntarily, such as heart rate, blood pressure, muscle tension, and skin temperature, in order to improve conditions including high blood pressure, headaches, and chronic pain. Patients work with a biofeedback therapist to learn these relaxation techniques and mental exercises. In initial sessions, electrodes are attached to the skin to measure bodily states, but eventually the techniques can be practiced without a therapist or equipment. So A good example of this is, I don't know if you guys, this is an old movie that came out in the 80s, but it was called Flatliners with Kiefer Sutherland. I don't know if you ever seen this movie. But in this movie they were basically stopping their heart rate, right? They were trying to see if there was life after death. And what they were doing is they were slowing their heart rate voluntarily. They were controlling it through breathing. And, breathing is a very effective tool for calming yourself down. If you ever been really mad, you really take a deep breath and you really start to calm down and you really start to get a good understanding of, okay, I'm getting myself under control. So what breathing does, it regulates your heart rate. When you get your heart rate down, you'll notice that your blood pressure, and you won't have that sweat when you get like really mad and you just like really press. So biofeedback allows you to control all of these things voluntarily without feeling like you're getting out of control, preventing anxiety attacks. A lot of people go through anxiety attacks and they feel that they can't control what's going on. So you control this with your breathing. When you feel an anxiety attack start to kick in, take a deep breath, get your breathing together, and you should start feeling better immediately. This is also good for headaches. This is good for any type of stress situations. If you feel overwhelmed with work, your job, your life, your family, anything. All right, let's go to the next slide. Chiropractic medicine. Chiropractic work is widely accepted in the medical community and thus qualifies as a complementary medicine than an alternative. The practice focuses on the musculoskeletal and nervous systems, treating issues in the back, neck, joints, arms, legs, and head. The most common procedure performed by chiropractors is spinal manipulation, aka spinal adjustment, which involves applying controlled force, typically by the chiropractor's hands, to joints that have become hypomobile. The idea is that joint movement becomes restricted when surrounding tissues are injured during a single event, like tweaking a muscle during weightlifting sessions or through repetitive stress, like sitting with poor posture for extended periods of time. So, a lot of us remember as kids when they always used to tell us to sit up straight and have correct posture, and most of us never really paid attention to it because we wanted to do what we wanted to do anyway. But a lot of us are having back problems now. And reason that a lot of us are having back problems is because we don't use proper posture. Most of us are slumped over in a chair half of the time, or we're slumped over in the sofa, or we're like this in the telephone with our heads down, looking down at the phone. So what this causes neck tension. This causes back pain. A lot of us have jobs that are hard labor, and you're standing on your feet all day, and you're putting a lot of pressure on your feet. And if you have back pain, anybody that's ever had back pain knows it's like some of the most painful thing that you could ever experience. It puts you like on your ass. You can't even stand up. You can't sleep. No. You can't do anything. No. So it's important that you take care of your spinal column and your back, your muscles. Without your back, you're not going to be able to do anything.
Man,
you want to chime in?
Yeah, man. Look, I done exerted myself so badly that I done busted my back, and I get up walking like if I was 92 years old, man. And you would think that you would take drugs to kill the pain, a muscle relaxer or something of such, but really it's physical conditioning that gets it back in line, stretching out, making sure your core, stomach, and abdomen area is strong to support all your spinal column and everything. So drugs don't really answer anything.
Right. So yeah, I mean, and that's basically it with chiropractic. If you ever been to one, it feels great when you come out of there. You feel like you could dunk a basketball, and it don't matter what age. Almost everybody that I've talked to that's went to a chiropractor, every time they come out of there, they come out of there feeling like $1 million. So, if it's something that you want to look into, I highly suggest going to see your local chiropractor. It's not expensive at all. Most of these you could pay out of pocket, so it's not even like it's going to break your bank. So, I don't know, check it out. Let me know how you feel when you come out to chiropractor. All right, so this one I'm going to put a disclaimer before I mention what it is. I'm going to put a disclaimer for 2 reasons. One, I can't say the word correctly, so I don't want it to come off sounding like I'm trying to be funny. And 2, I would never actively tell people to put anything into their body if I never put it into my body and I don't know what it is. With that being said, this is an alternative form of medicine, and for some people, it works. So, homeopathy or homeopathy, or however you will say that, functions in much the same way as a vaccine, which is one of the reasons why I put the disclaimer, because I'm not really a fan of vaccines. So I'm not really a fan of putting anything in your body that's not natural. However, this requires putting natural products in your body. So it's based on the principle of treating like with like, meaning a substance that causes adverse reactions when taken in large doses can be used in small amounts to treat those same symptoms. This concept is sometimes used in conventional medicine as well. For example, Ritalin is a stimulant used to treat patients with ADHD. Homeopaths gather extensive background information on patients before prescribing a highly diluted substance, usually in liquid or tablet form, to jumpstart the body's natural systems of healing. These treatments are called remedies. So, again, me personally, I've never personally used this method, but I mean, you've ran into those people that said that they've took some, homemade substance that their grandmother made or a family recipe. And, for the most part, it worked for them. So this is something that I would tell people to really research and really look at the products that you are putting in your body. And it's a possibility that it may work. But again, this requires research. And I would ask somebody that's went through the process before me personally, I wouldn't try this one. I'm not comfortable with putting things in my body that I don't know what it is, but it is an alternative form of medicine, so I figure I'd just mention it. So let's get to this next one. Reflexology. Reflexology involves applying pressure to specific areas on the feet, hands, or ears. The theory is that these points correspond to different body organs and systems. Pressing them is believed to positively affect these organs and a person's overall health. For example, applying pressure to a spot on the arch of the foot is believed to benefit bladder function. A person can use reflexology on themselves or enlist the help of a reflexologist. People around the world use this therapy to complement conventional treatments for conditions including anxiety, cancer, diabetes, kidney function, and asthma. Some studies have found that reflexology can improve depression and hospital anxiety in patients with cardiovascular disease, quell nausea and fatigue brought on by chemotherapy, and reduce stress in general. Now, reflexology is one that I've actually used, and is one that I actively use on a pretty regular basis. So the concept behind it is to picture yourself, the human body on your hand, with the head being the tip of your fingers and the feet being the palm of your hand. So by rubbing the tips of your fingers or the tips of your toes, that's how you would get rid of headaches. By rubbing the middle part of your hand right here, this affects the middle part of your body. So depending on where you rub on the hand, that's where the area of the body that's going to affect. If you rub the right side of your hand, it'll affect organs on the right side of your body. You rub the left side of your hand, it'll affect organs. And it's the same concept with your feet. That's why if you ever had somebody give you a foot massage, it feels really good. But the reason why it feels really good is because it's affecting all the parts of your body at the same time. The energy, the stress energy that's being released from the body, the tension from your foot or from your hand is being released, and you start to feel this in other parts of your body. So this is one that actually works. I was going to put a chart in here, but what I'll do is after the show, I'll put a little chart in the chat, and you guys will have a chart of exactly what parts of the hand and feet correspond with the parts of the body. And you can actually practice this one on yourself or with your significant other, or even with the kids. Like if they're having a bad day and they don't feel good, tell them, give me your foot and rub the bottom of their feet, and they'll start to feel better. This one I'm vouching for. I can pretty much guarantee this one's going to work.
And then you can tell them to rub yours.
Yeah, basically. All right, so this last one, we're going to get into a little bit of detail because I got a special guest with us today. This one is Reiki. This is a metaphysical, because this is all about energy and the life force. So Reiki is a form of energy healing based on the idea that a life force energy flows through everyone's body. According to this philosophy, sickness and stress are indications that life force energy is low, while energy, health, and happiness signify a strong life force. In a Reiki session, a practitioner seeks to transfer life energy to the client by placing their hands lightly on the client's body or a slight distance away from the body. Reiki can also be formed at a long distance. So for this one, I don't have any personal experience, but I do know somebody who does have some personal experience in this. So I would like to bring her in. Valerie, are you there? Can you hear us?
Hey, hey.
Hey. So real quick, I want you, if you can, give us a brief history. Introduce yourself, let everybody know who you are, and then if you can give us a brief idea of how Reiki works and just the methodology used.
Sure. My name is Valerie Quinones. I'm a licensed massage therapist in the state of Ohio, in the state of Florida, as well as California. And I practice Reiki within my business as a therapist. And Reiki was a form of laying of the hands. So if you know about laying of the hands, this is another form of it that originated from Japan in the 1920s from a Buddhist. His name was Mikao Usui. And he believed that the power is within. So it's energy work. And what you do is it's a transference of energy from the practitioner to the client to open up blockages or release energy, like the chakras that were mentioned earlier. So if you have a blocked chakra, for example, your throat chakra, you might experience the lack of being able to articulate what it is you're feeling or what it is you're thinking, so you don't speak much. And so what Reiki would do was go to that specific area and with intention and allowing space for healing to happen, it would open up that chakra so that you can speak well and you can, use your words to express how you feel. So that's just an example of what Reiki does. I use it along with my massage therapy, and it was done on me. I learned it from after my car accident in 2011, where I was in critical condition, broken bones, exploded bladder, all kinds of things. I was a mess. And I had a friend, her name was Jessica Breaky, and she was into Reiki. She's the one that taught me. And so with anxiety and all the things that come after a car accident, she was able to soothe me with that treatment and release blockages, whatever blockages that were going on within my body. So that's Reiki in a simple form.
All right. Hold on, let me turn my mic down. If you could, because I know you're familiar with other forms of alternative medicine, can you give us a brief description of other alternative medicine that you might have used, like for example, dance? Because I know you have a history with dance, and can you explain how these natural techniques have helped you over the years?
Sure. So when I was a child, I experienced a lot of anxiety and depression and things like that. My mother had been abused while she was pregnant with me. So I had just grown up with anxiety and things like that. And I noticed that when I'd be home and I'd draw and I'd listen to music and I dance in my room, those were the things that were helping me to express myself or escape whatever it is that I was feeling. And so it was really therapeutic for me. And I just grew up doing that and tapped into dance, and dance became my world for years before I got into therapy. It was a way for me to release energy in my body. It was a way for me to express what I couldn't speak. Then, there's yoga. I've done yoga a couple times too. And it's also another way for you to go ahead and move that energy through your body. So whatever stagnant energy that you have within yourself, you're just not feeling well. Sometimes you just need to move. Sometimes you need to listen to a tune. Sometimes you just need to journal. These are the forms that I still use to this day to help me when I'm feeling, that angst and overwhelmed with work, or right now we're in a pandemic, so a lot of things are going on for a lot of people. We're not, I'm not the only one, and a lot of people are experiencing these anxieties, and they are forced to sit still with themselves and really reflect on what it is that's working in their life and what's not. And so these forms would help. I say journaling is a big one. When you have thoughts, ruminating thoughts that just won't stop, journaling. One I love the most would be like, besides dancing, of course, is massage. When there is time and we are allowed to get back from social distancing, I recommend that you get at least one massage if you haven't ever in your life. Go get one, because the power of touch is so important. You release those endorphins, those feel-good hormones like serotonin and dopamine. And like you said earlier, it'll boost your immune system, help you with sleep disorders, things like that. So yeah, journaling, massage therapy, dance, yoga, these are all very effective. And I personally can attest to that.
That's awesome. Now, I remember for a brief amount of time you were doing the kickboxing thing. Can you touch on that a little bit too? Because I remember that was something that you really enjoyed doing, and it was something that it was really high energy workout.
Yeah, that kickboxing, it was cardio kickboxing, and it was specifically for working out. I wasn't kickboxing to train in battle or anything, but
Right.
it's you and a bag of 3 minutes of nonstop combinations. So you would go hard for 3 minutes, doing like jab cross, uppercuts, hooks, 3 minutes nonstop with an instructor in the class. And I had taught that for 2 years in Florida. And it was amazing. The transformation that people would have, it would build their confidence, increase their stamina, their endurance. Of course, you would lose weight because it's cardio. Kickboxing is a great form of therapy. If you just need to go let it out on the bag somewhere, when the gyms open up, try that for sure. Get yourself a coach if you need one, because you could injure your wrist and your hand if you don't have the proper direction. So definitely try kickboxing. That was another form. Yeah, definitely.
All right. I remember this was something that you had a conversation with me about in the past, and it was location and the effect that location has on our overall health as individuals. As somebody that travels a lot and somebody that's lived in multiple locations, can you give me just a brief example of how the different locations and how they've affected your health and how they've improved your health over the time?
Yes. So I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. So the West Side, Clark, Myers, all of that. And if you know that area, then you know the type of things that you see in that area. And, sometimes when we don't know any better, we won't do any better. And therefore, when you are exposed to a certain way of living and only that certain way of living, you have a certain lifestyle, certain habits that might not serve your higher good. And after a while of living in Cleveland, I decided I wanted to go elsewhere and see what it was like to live in Florida. I wanted to be closer to the water. I wanted to be closer to the ocean. And I've had my experience with, the alcohol use, the drugs, everything to escape my reality, because my reality wasn't the most fun. And the next thing I wanted to do, I just said, I can't do any of this anymore. It's not working. It's just acting as a Band-Aid. Nothing is helping me. I'm not progressing. I'm not getting any better. I'm too busy trying to chase the bag, chase the money, try to live a lifestyle that it wasn't wealth. And because I wasn't healthy, I decided to leave. I moved to Florida, got closer to the ocean. I didn't need all of those things anymore. I stopped and I cut back little by little. And it's an everyday, challenge. You don't just completely change overnight. It takes some time to release some of those old habits and things like that. But moving, changing my atmosphere, people, places, and things, that is extremely important. You want to be in a place where your circle is thriving, not just surviving. You want to be in a place where your circle is full of winners. That way, when you talk about your wins, they don't look at you as if you're bragging, but they look at you as if, yeah, we're doing this together. We're going to lift each other up. You want to be in a place where it's conducive to the lifestyle you want to live, basically. And so that's what I wound up doing. I said, I got to go. And I moved to Florida. And I started traveling all over. I'm now residing in California because I did it again. I said, I got to go. I got to try something new. Because what it is every different version of yourself is going to require you to level up and step out of your comfort zone so that you could be your best self, so you could be your healthier self. And so that's what I do when I decide to up and go. You know, it's not that I don't love anybody anymore, or, you know, I forget where I come from. I know where I come from and it never leaves me, but it also taught me that I want more out of life. I want to do things differently. So changing people, places, and things, and making sure that you're within a circle that's going to help you grow is super imperative to the glow up. I call it the glow up.
A lot of valuable information there. Thank you. That was amazing. I'm looking forward to having you on the show as a regular guest now moving forward. I've been wanting to get you on here for some time. So now that we finally got you on here, we're going to have you on here as a regular guest because I feel like you have a lot of valuable insight and you can offer a lot to the show. And not only that, but this is a family affair, right? So at the end of the day, we got to look out for each other because we all we got. So
That's
with
right.
that being said, I want to thank you for coming out. Valerie, I thank you for sharing the information that you shared with us today. I want to thank my engineer, Paul, for once again hooking me up on the ones and twos, making sure that we got this information popping up on the screen. Moving forward, we're gonna keep working on the self. As of right now, the next couple episodes we're gonna continue to working on the self. I got a show on finances coming up at the end of the month, and I got a couple cool guests I'm gonna bring on here so they could give you some tidbits and some of their examples and how fixing their finances work for them. And then when we're done with that, we're gonna go into the outside world, and we're really gonna start to investigate the world around us because before we could do that, we have to figure out what's wrong with us as individuals that puts us in these positions where we believe a lot of bullshit. You know, right now, 2020 has been one of them years where you either see it or you don't. Right? 2020 has always been affiliated with clear vision, and most of the people in 2020 they either can see really good or they're blind as a bat. Right? So you have a disconnect. You have a schism, where a schism is a divide, right? And what we're trying to do is we're trying to fix that, right? We're trying to fix the divide, and we're trying to bring people together so where we can share information and we can really have these dialogues. I didn't know anything about a lot of these things until I really started researching these topics. And this goes for anybody. Like nobody, I don't really feel like anybody's an idiot. I feel like an idiot, being stupid is a choice, right? Because the information is there for everybody. The same way I look on the internet, the same way Valerie looked up this information, the same way Paul looks up information is the same way anybody can look up information. So, I mean, this is not something that requires a lot of brain power to do. So the fact that people don't do it is just laziness. That's what it is. It's laziness, and people are being lazy, and then have the audacity to have an opinion to the people that are not lazy. So we're trying to get all of that, bring all that to an end. So moving forward, I do have bills here at One Life to Play. So if you like what you've heard so far, I'm gonna put my Cash App up, and if anybody would like to send a donation, just send a 50 cent, $1, anything that you can spare to the Cash App there, and we use it for production costs for the show because I do have bills, and it does cost me a lot of money to put this show on. So any little dollar helps. If nobody sends anything, that's okay too, because it's not an obligation. I'm gonna give you the information anyway. I'm gonna pay for the show anyway, but it just it helps. Over the weekend, I'm going to upload links for the library because I've been saying I was going to put the library up and I haven't did it yet. That's because I've been lazy, right? Because I still do ignorant things from time to time. I like to kick it. I like to, do what I do. And, at times I'm lazy and I forget stuff. I'm human. So I'm going to get that taken care of this weekend. And I got a lot of exciting shows coming up. We got a lot of exciting guests. I want to thank everybody that's been supporting the show from the get-go. Every share, every positive comment, every idea, people that have taken their time to actually contribute to the show. I mean, all of that is greatly appreciated. Again, this is something that I jumped all the way out of my comfort zone to do. I'm not somebody that gets in front of a camera. I don't even like taking pictures, to be honest. But I'm doing this because I feel like at this point in history, this is what I was chosen to do. And with time, hopefully I could get better and give you a better presentation. I mean, we got a lot of things in this studio that we could use. So I'm really trying to like get it in. So it's a process. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for coming out today, supporting the show. Again, Cash App's at the top of the screen. The next show will be Tuesday at 5 o'clock. I'm not going to tell you what the topic is ahead of time because I don't even really know. A lot of these I just do at the last minute and then I decide this is what I want to talk about. But it is going to be related to the human body. It might be a combination of both medicine and the mind. It might be a better physical aspects that we haven't really got into yet because these things are very important. And with that being said, take it easy and thank you.